When Mom is late and toys break, a story of small heartbreaks and unexpected kindness. The autumn afternoon painted everything in shades of amber and gold, but 7-year-old Emma couldn't see the beauty anymore. She sat on the park bench, her small shoulders hunched forward, clutching her stuffed elephant like it was the only steady thing in her tilting world. The electronic toy that had been her constant companion for the past 6 months lay broken in pieces at her feet, its cheerful beeps and colorful lights now silent and dark. Emma had been waiting for 45 minutes, though it felt like hours. Her mother was supposed to pick her up after school at 3:30. It was now past 4:15, and the park was growing quieter as other children left with their parents, their laughter fading into the distance like forgotten promises. The toy had broken during recess. She'd been showing it to her friend Marcus when Tommy Jenkins, the class bully, had grabbed it from her hands and thrown it against the playground equipment. The plastic casing had cracked, the batteries had scattered, and the tiny circuit board inside had come loose. Emma had gathered all the pieces carefully, holding them in her lunchbox like precious artifacts, hoping desperately that somehow someone could make it whole again. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was the waiting, the not knowing. Her mother had been late before, but never this late. Emma's mind spiraled through possibilities, each one darker than the last. What if something had happened? What if her mom's car had broken down on the highway? What if she'd forgotten about her completely? That last thought hurt most of all, even though Emma knew it was silly. Moms didn't forget their children, did they? The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the fallen leaves, and Emma shivered despite her cardigan. She'd already called her mother's phone 3 times from the school office, but each call had gone straight to voicemail. The school secretary, Mrs. Patterson, had stayed with her for a while, but eventually had to leave to pick up her own children. She'd assured Emma that everything would be fine, that her mother would be there any minute. But the words had felt hollow, like reading from a script everyone had memorized, but nobody really believed. Emma thought about her toy again. Her grandmother had given it to her just before she'd gotten sick last spring. Grandma Rosemary had saved up for months to buy it, she'd said, because she knew how much Emma loved anything that lit up and made music. It was a small electronic learning game, covered in stickers. Emma had carefully applied herself, one during each special moment. Her birthday, the day she lost her first tooth, the day Dad's deployment had ended, and he'd come home safely. Now it was broken, just like so many other things seemed to be lately. Her parents had been fighting more. Dad worked long hours at the factory, coming home exhausted and irritable. Mom juggled 2 part-time jobs, always rushing from one place to another, always tired, always stressed. Emma heard them sometimes at night, their voices rising and falling through the thin walls of their small apartment. She didn't understand all the words: mortgage, bills, overdue, impossible, but she understood the tone. She understood the weight of worry that hung over their home like a storm cloud that never quite broke into rain. The sound of footsteps made Emma look up hopefully, but it was just an elderly couple walking their small dog. They smiled at her sympathetically, but didn't stop. Emma looked back down at her elephant, tracing its worn fabric with her finger. She'd named him Theodore when she was 3, and he'd been through everything with her. The move from their old house, the nights when Dad was overseas, the day when Grandma Rosemary had died. "Excuse me, sweetie." The voice was soft, gentle. Emma looked up to find a woman standing a few feet away. She had kind eyes and was holding a small handbag. She looked to be in her 30s, with light brown hair that caught the golden afternoon light. "I'm sorry to bother you," the woman said, taking a careful step closer but maintaining a respectful distance. "I'm Sarah. I've been walking through the park, and I couldn't help but notice you've been sitting here alone for quite a while. Are you okay? Are you waiting for someone?" Emma nodded, her throat tight. "My mom. She's late." Sarah's expression softened with understanding. "I see. How late is she?" "A lot," Emma whispered, her eyes beginning to burn with tears she'd been holding back. "And my toy is broken, and I don't know if anyone can fix it, and it was from my grandma, and she's not here anymore." The words tumbled out in a rush, and suddenly Emma was crying. Really crying, not the quiet tears she'd been blinking away, but deep, shaking sobs that came from somewhere in her chest. She was crying for the broken toy, and the late mother, and the grandmother who would never give her another present. She was crying for all the broken things that seemed too big and too hard to fix. Sarah sat down on the bench, not too close, but close enough. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. That's a lot to deal with all at once." She paused, then said gently, "May I see your toy? Sometimes things that look really broken can actually be fixed." Emma wiped her eyes with the back of her hand and reached for her lunchbox, carefully opening it to reveal the broken pieces. Sarah examined them thoughtfully, turning each piece over in her hands. "You know what? I think this might be fixable," Sarah said, and there was something in her voice that made Emma believe her. "I used to work in electronics repair before I became a teacher. See this?" The main circuit board isn't damaged. The casing is cracked, but that's mostly cosmetic. If we can find the right batteries and snap everything back together, I think we can bring it back to life." "Really?" Emma's voice was small, afraid to hope. "Really," Sarah said with a warm smile. "I don't have any tools with me right now, but if it's okay with you, and with your mom when she gets here, maybe I could help you fix it. We could use some strong glue for the casing and get new batteries from the store down the street." For the first time in what felt like forever, Emma felt a small spark of hope. "You would do that?" "I would be happy to," Sarah said. "I know how important special things can be, especially when they're from people we love and miss." They sat together in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the leaves dance across the path. Then Sarah asked, "What's your elephant's name?" "Theodore," Emma said, holding him up. "That's a wonderful name. He looks like he's been a very good friend to you." "He has," Emma agreed. "He's been with me for everything." Sarah nodded knowingly. Everyone needs a Theodore. Another few minutes passed, and then Emma heard the sound she'd been desperately waiting for, her mother's voice, breathless and panicked. "Emma, Emma, baby, I'm so sorry." Emma's mother, Jessica, came running across the park, her work uniform disheveled, her face streaked with tears. She dropped to her knees in front of the bench, pulling Emma into a tight hug. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. My phone died at work, and then there was an accident on the highway, and traffic was completely stopped, and I could call, and I've been so worried." The words tumbled out in a rush, each one wrapped in guilt and fear and relief. "It's okay, Mom," Emma said, even though it hadn't been okay, even though she'd been scared. But now her mother was here, and that made everything a little bit better. Jessica pulled back, wiping her eyes, and noticed Sarah for the first time. Her expression immediately shifted to concern. "I'm sorry, who are you?" Sarah stood up, giving Jessica space. "My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm a teacher at Riverside Elementary, not your daughter's school, but nearby." I was walking through the park and saw Emma sitting alone. "I just wanted to make sure she was safe until you arrived." Jessica's face crumpled with a mixture of gratitude and embarrassment. "Thank you. I can't tell you how grateful I am. I was terrified something had happened, and my phone was dead, and everything that could go wrong did go wrong today." "I understand," Sarah said gently. "We all have those days. The important thing is you're here now, and Emma is safe." Emma held up her lunchbox. "Mom, my toy broke at school. The one from Grandma. But Sarah says she might be able to help fix it." Jessica looked down at the broken pieces, and fresh tears welled in her eyes. She knew how much that toy meant to Emma. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. We'll figure something out." Sarah interjected softly, "If you'd like, I meant what I said. I used to do electronics repair, and I think I can fix it. I live just a few blocks from here. If you're comfortable with it, you could bring Emma by tomorrow afternoon and we can work on it together. Or if you'd prefer, I could fix it and meet you somewhere public to return it." Jessica looked at Sarah, really looked at her, seeing the genuine kindness in her eyes. In that moment, this stranger was offering something Jessica couldn't afford right now. Help. Not judgment, not criticism, just simple, straightforward help. "That's incredibly kind of you," Jessica said, her voice breaking slightly. "We don't have much money right now for repairs or replacements, so if you really think you can fix it." "I do," Sarah said firmly, "and I won't take any money for it. Sometimes we all just need a little help. That's what communities are for." They exchanged phone numbers, and Sarah took the broken toy pieces, promising to have them back together by tomorrow. As she prepared to leave, she knelt down to Emma's level one more time. "You're a very brave girl, Emma. I know today was hard, but you handled it with so much strength. Your grandma would be very proud of you." Emma threw her arms around Sarah in an impulsive hug, and Sarah hugged her back gently. When they separated, Sarah waved goodbye and headed off across the park, the broken toy pieces safely in her bag. Jessica and Emma sat on the bench together for a moment longer, neither quite ready to leave yet. Jessica wrapped her arm around her daughter, pulling her close. "I'm sorry I was so late, baby. I'm sorry for a lot of things lately. I know things have been hard." "It's okay, Mom," Emma said, and this time she meant it a little more. Sarah was nice. She said everyone has days when everything goes wrong. "She's right about that," Jessica said with a tired laugh, "and she seems like a genuinely good person. We were lucky she was there." "Do you think she can really fix it?" Emma asked, hope and doubt warring in her voice. "I don't know, sweetheart, but I believe she'll try her best, and sometimes that's all we can ask for. Sometimes things break, and sometimes people help us put them back together." Jessica paused, then added softly, "And sometimes we have to accept that some broken things can't be fixed exactly the way they were. But that doesn't mean they can't still be good and special in a new way." Emma thought about that, holding Theodore close, Like when you patched Theodore's arm with that different fabric? It doesn't match, but I like it because it shows he's been loved a lot. Exactly like that, Jessica said, kissing the top of Emma's head. Battle scars show we've been through things and survived them. They make us more interesting, not less special. As they finally stood to leave, Emma noticed something she hadn't seen before. There, tucked between the lunchbox and the bench, was a small note with a $20 bill. She picked it up and showed her mother. The note, in Sarah's handwriting, read, "For replacement batteries and maybe an ice cream. Everyone deserves something sweet after a hard day." As Jessica's eyes filled with tears again, but these were different tears. These were tears of gratitude, of being seen and helped when she felt invisible and overwhelmed. She carefully folded the note and the bill, putting them in her pocket like the treasures they were. "Come on, baby," she said, taking Emma's hand. "Let's go home. I think we have enough for pizza tonight instead of sandwiches. What do you say? With extra cheese?" Emma asked, a small smile finally breaking through. "With extra cheese," Jessica confirmed as they walked home through the amber evening light. Emma thought about the day's events. It had started so badly, with the broken toy and the long wait and the fear, but it had ended with Sarah's kindness, her mother's embrace, and the promise of pizza and possibly a fixed toy tomorrow. Maybe that was what life was like, Emma thought with the wisdom of someone far older than 7. Maybe it was full of broken things and late arrivals and moments of fear, but maybe it was also full of kind strangers and unexpected help and the possibility that broken things could be fixed after all. She squeezed Theodore a little tighter and held her mother's hand, and together they walked home, leaving the empty park behind them, carrying with them a small but genuine hope that tomorrow might be a little bit better than today. And sometimes, in the middle of life's hardest moments, that's all we really need. The belief that tomorrow might bring something better, and the knowledge that we don't have to face our broken things alone.